Yo, what's going on then, guys? It's your boy Ben Gregson here, and I have just recorded this entire video without turning on my recording software. That's right, I forgot to open OBS, and I had OBS open, but I didn't hit the record button, and in turn, just spoke to myself for 20 minutes. But anyway, this is episode 2 of Zefra versus the World. I just had a really good game versus raccoons of all decks. Honestly, the game itself isn't great, but it shows some really good technical play on my end that I'd love for you guys to actually implement into your game. So let's just get on with the video. My opponent won RPS, of course, because my luck is terrible, which means we're going second. Now, first of all, I'd like to point out, this hand is insane. Going second. Not second, that one. Going first, we have Oracle, Zefra, Gamma to stop them doing anything. We hard drew Path, which means we're getting Divine Strike or 9 Pillars. Like, this is what you want to see, but unfortunately our opponent's hand is full of a bunch of fairies. And the God card Obedient Skull. So, my opponent starts with Desires. I don't know why he didn't Obedient Skull first, in all honesty. But he's going to make double Sundayu here. And I made a bit of an error. And when I say a bit of an error, I made a huge error here. So my opponent makes Sundayu and goes Activate Sundayu effect. Right? I haven't read Sundayu in years. If you guys don't know what Sundayu does, you detach a material, summon a token, with attack equal to the attack of the highest monster on the board, at the moment being itself at 1000. But it has some other card text that says it can't be destroyed by battle or card effect if you control another beast monster, and there's 2 more beasts here. So I Gamma, and his guy doesn't die, and then he overlays and makes a second one, and then the token now has 2500 attack because I control Driver. So I'm dealing with a 2500 attack token, and 2 monsters that can't be destroyed effectively. I still attempt to play. Drawing Zefra for turn's always nice. So we're going to Oracle for Pelica, send our Nui. We're going to Pendulum Summon 2 into his back row. I'm on the back foot, so I'm just going to Pendulum Summon into back row regardless. There's a Lost Wind there, which I completely get juked by here. So, Chainlink 1, Crocosaur, Chainlink 2, Oracle, stack Gizmek, because Gizmek can out this. Summon the Gizmek, attempt to take his guy, we get Lost Winded. And then we overlay for Calamities. My opponent thinks I can't summon Calamities because of Zefra Path, and he got the wrong way around, which a lot of people do. So I attempt to swing over the token, but he's like, no, I'm doing something on the Summon of Calamities, so I'm like, that's fine. Sets the Lost Wind again, so I beat over the set monster instead, realizing that punching the token doesn't do anything, because he's just going to make a 3k token. He Lost Winds on the activation of Calamities, we chain Divine Strike to make sure our Calamities is live for the turn. He sets a back row, sets a monster. I'm going to Pendulum Summon 1, and, Nui's actually going to resolve, which is weird. I'm going to punch over his set monster, and set 9 Pillars of the Yangzing, because the card's strong. My opponent doesn't do anything. I attempt to crash my Nui into the token, take 2500 damage, he strikes the effective Nui, and that's game from there. We had the debate about whether or not Nui goes to the graveyard, because it's destroyed in the extra deck. To my knowledge, it does go to the graveyard, and it was just me being quite bad at the game. So, next game, our hand is Driver. Hello again. Ash, Terraforming, Phraxi, Imperm. So our hand's relatively strong. His hand is also relatively strong with Obedient Skull and Cyberstein for some reason. Don't know why he kept that in going second. And he also has a Judgment as well. So we're gonna just do Zefra stuff. We're gonna fetch Providence, and then Providence is gonna fetch Path, and then we're just gonna set Imperm. So we have Imperm, Path, Ash. Oh wait, Ash is a level 3 tuner, you say? Does that mean we're making Calamities? Of course it does. So we're going to invest our piece of interaction into a Floodgate. I don't see any issues with this at all. So we're going to end on Calamity's Path Imperm, which is usually game in both matchups. He's going to attempt to activate Obedient Skull, which is very illegal under the effect of Zefra Path. So he's just going to set a bunch of back rows, set a monster. We top deck Providence, so we're going to Pendulum Summon into the Solemn Judgment that's randomly in his deck going second. I didn't expect him to have a Solemn Judgment going second, that's the reason I did that. There's no real reason to explain it. We punch over the Stein. I allow him into main phase 1 without activating Calamities, because the thing is, I don't think Raccoon can do anything without their normal summon anyway, and I can just respond to the normal summon with Calamities. In hindsight, it might be correct for me to Calamities in the standby phase, but I decide to hold it in case I have to beat over something during his turn that I can't kill because it has a monster effect and yada yada yada. So we just let it resolve, and he Dark Ruler no more us, and then has literally 0 follow-up. So, I mean, his follow-up is set a monster, set a back row pass because he's playing Raccoons. We draw Providence for the second turn in a row. Search Axiton just to play around dumb trap cards again. Save our scales with Providence, summon Nui. Nui's going to grab 9 pillars. We're going to swing for some damage. We're going to get Lost Winded on our True King of all Calamities. And then I'm going to make a very incorrect play here. So, at the time, I was like, oh, I'm just going to link off my monsters because I can Pendulum Summon them next turn and I can bluff Gamma. The issue with bluffing Gamma here is the fact that I have Path on field, so the only way Gamma's going to resolve is if Drive is in my hand. And I'm going to have to set a card. So the only way I can Gamma him, which is the Gamma I'm trying to bluff him with, is if I have both Gamma and Driver in my hand, but I have to set this card, therefore I only have 1 card in hand, so I can't Gamma him anyway. Like, the 9 pillars is still live because the Fraxie's there, but because I haven't got War in my main deck going first, gaining value off of popping the Nui and then grabbing War doesn't exist, so I just decided to link into Lambda and attempt to bluff the thing that I can't legally bluff, and allow him to reset his Lost Wind, but he just scoops it up anyway, and we move into game 3. Now, I feel sorry for my opponent not opening too great here. He's opened Beaver and Floria Strike Lost Wind, so he's opened good versus our deck, right? I'm going to choose to Ash this instead of Gamma it, just to keep the Gamma in my hand for next turn, in case of like random Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, or Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring on our Nui. So he sets some cards. We draw Fraxie for turn. Now, at this point, I'm like, he's going first, he's shown me he plays Judgment, he's shown me he plays Strike. I need to play around those cards, otherwise I'm going to get blown out by something dumb, right? So, I make the intuitive play of activating Wrath, sending New, and just Pendulum Summoning Nui, right? Because if I Pendulum Summon Nui and Fraxie into a Strike, there's a high likelihood I just lose, right? So I just Pendulum Summon the Secret into 2 back row, because this is expendable. This is a card that I can constantly reuse. The thing is, I can get another one of these back into my extra deck because of the way my scales are. I can't get another Fraxie back into my extra, so I have to rely on hard drawing Providence, or hard drawing Oracle, or Pathfinder, or whatever piece of Zefra thing, right? But just Pendulum Summoning this has like 0 downside. Like, he 1 for 1s, he doesn't 2 for 1. So we hold advantage if we just summon Nui and he gets striked or judgmented, and he's lower on life, therefore he's closer to dying. So we summon Nui, he gets Lost Winded, that's fine. We normal summon Fraxie. This means that our 9 pillars is still live. So we're just going to poke him, set a card. He's going to draw Tantan for turn, set Tantan and pass. So we decide to go all in here, right? So we're going to make Lambda. We're going to add back with our Wendy, and we're going to use Wrath to send Exciton. So we can Exciton his back row, Exciton his monster, and just go for Borrelswood. I don't think my opponent realized that my back row was actually legit, because he tries to Solemn Strike for Pendulum Summon, which I would have lost to had I just Pendulum Summoned the previous turn. but thank you, good luck and intuition, and totally not fluking my way to this. Actually playing around his cards correctly, we still have the 9 pillars to negate the Solemn Strike and allow our Pendulum Summon to go through. Then we're going to pop his monster, we're going to make Borrelsword Dragon, and we're just going to swing at his face. Like, this is probably the best Zefra list I've played in a long time, like this specific one without extravagance, just because you have so much freedom, and so much free interaction during your opponent's turn, which we wouldn't usually have if we're on the extra of, you know, wombo combo mid-ultra list, right? So I've got a couple of things to address after winning that game. First of all, a lot of people are asking why I'm not playing Zefra War. Now, I understand the upside of Zefra War is the fact that A, it's a piece of interaction during your opponent's turn that you can search off Nui if it dies, and B, being it allows your Nui to dodge imperm by popping itself to kill a card. But the issue with War I found is that when you draw it in your opening 5, I couldn't think of a worse card I could possibly draw. Like, sure, War is a piece of interaction, but unless you've drawn Providence or you've used your Nui to search Providence, like, War doesn't gain any real value, right? Because you're just 1 for 1ing, and occasionally you're 2 for 1ing, right? Because sometimes you aren't popping Nui, and you aren't saving your scale with Providence when you're using War, and 2 for 1ing is not good in a format where you're either getting comboed on, or the control deck is just trying to out-advantage you. And as a Zefra player, you have to aggressively play your cards onto your opponent's cards to be able to actually win the game. Because you haven't got a clear win condition other than summon a board that your opponent hopefully can't kill you through on the follow-up summon Borrelsword Dragon. That's your win condition. Probably not the best win condition for a deck in all honesty. But it is the Zefra win condition as far as I'm concerned. Another thing I'd like to address is, why am I not main decking Dark Ruler no more? Was another question asked. Dark Ruler no more just isn't a monster or a Zefra card. So you can't make Borrelsword with it, and it's not interaction in your opponent's turn. So like, if the Rock deck makes the big board and you open the Dark Ruler, right? You as a Zefra player have like 3 ways of clearing their stuff. You got like Thuban, Axiton, Gizmek, right? That actually clears things. So Dark Ruler seems quite bad to me. Like, fair enough, if it works for you, play it. Like, don't take my word as like, you know, this is solid, bow down. Like, by all means, if you want to play Dark Ruler no more, please do. I just find that having hand traps is better. Also, the cards I would swap the Dark Ruler no more's in for would be DD Crow, and DD Crow versus Eldritch is insane, and Eldritch is probably your worst matchup because they out-tempo you a lot of the time, because their resources recur, your resources recur, but their resources recur in your end phase and their end phase, whereas yours only recur during your turn or when your opponent kills your Zefra. Like, you have blowouts like Path, but they just ping away your stuff over and over again, and you just have to accept it, because unless you have Providence, they just constantly ping your stuff away, and they push tempo, and then they make Pleiades, and then they carry on doing things, and then you get Gustav maxed. So having DD Crow's additional pieces of interaction is probably the best thing for it, outside of Skullmeister maybe, because Skullmeister's a level 4, so you can do some cute rank 4 things, but anyway, I'm off topic. The other thing I wanted to talk about was why 2 Croco Dragon. So after playing with Croco Dragon for like 5 days now, I find myself making 2 Croco Dragon quite a lot in a game, because after you've made your first Croco Dragon to do your Calamities combo, quite often you could just make another Croco Dragon again. If you're not like able to Borrelsword kill them because there's a bunch of stuff in the way, or you know, you can't clear the board and they're a trap deck and you just don't want to commit to something like a Borrelsword Dragon because you're scared that you'll get pinged off and you'll lose the game, you can actually just stack Ash Blossom or stack a piece of interaction with it. It's not just there for your Gizmek combo, it's there for being a piece of interaction on its own, and also getting yourself to a piece of interaction through Ash Blossom or DD Crow or Gamma if you have Lambda, is the reason that Croco Dragon is a 2 of. You can actually make an argument for cutting Stardust Charge Warrior now, but sometimes that does come up. If you don't want to play the second Croco Dragon, I'd recommend playing Nirvana High Paladin. Nirvana High Paladin is a really strong card, actually. And also, remember guys, Ash is a level 3 tuner, so if you open Ash and a way to summon Zefra, you can still do the Crocosaur into VFD combo. And also, when you are making VFD, remember you are searching Zefra Path instead of a counter trap to play around Nibiru, because your opponent can't Nibiru you while you control Zefra Path, and the Calamities is your 5th summon. So yeah, that's going to be it for the video guys. Please like and comment on the video if you enjoyed it. Remember, commenting is good for the YouTube algorithm and helps me get my videos out there. And also remember to subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content. There's definitely more Zefra content coming soon, especially with me having a lot more time during this lockdown. And yeah, that's going to be it for the video guys. I really hope you enjoy. Have a nice day. Oh, it's Ben Gregson or Dilemma here. Have a nice day, and peace.